and welcome to Just a Conversation. In the midst tonight, I'm none other than Minister Amon, Brother Matthew, I'm Minister Hayden. Evangelist Hayden is back in the mix. Don't forget to hop over to our YouTube page, which is Just a Conversation. Don't forget to subscribe, don't forget to like. Also, you can find us on every podcast streaming available, whether it be Spotify, Google, Breaker, Stitcher. Let's type in Just a Conversation, you'll find us there. Man, it's awesome, it's real. It's been raining for the past couple of days. That's some blessings. Matthew, what's the topic?
Our topic for tonight is crazy. Because it's like...
It's blessed out here.
Well, not really crazy. I'm going to be honest. It's like... Because I feel like boundaries is a good thing. So, it's like, should there be boundaries in relationships? And personally, I like my space. It's like, I still like you being there, but at the same time,
so you said there should be boundaries in relationships.
Yeah, it's like... Because, like... I've seen people, I've been around folks who are very clingy, and for me, I find I need that space before I react in a negative way. So it's like, either say something or just, I'd rather just need that space. So that's my personal thing. I don't know about y'all, but yeah.
That's so vague. Keep going. Like,
personal
space.
I don't get
well,
it.
The thing is, I used to, when I was going to school, I had certain friends that are, they don't know what boundary is, and they come up in your personal space. This is pre-COVID, so it's like But the thing is, for me, when I talk to you, but if you get a certain distance, I'm gonna need a backup, and I'm gonna tell you straight up, like, give me my space. It's like give me my 2 feet. Just give me some space. I'll talk to you, but don't come up so close. It's
so
like,
this is everybody all across the board.
For me, it's all across the board, but it's like. But my thing is, at the same time, this is the contradiction. I'd rather you be there, but at the same time, not all up on me, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I get you.
So that's just me. I don't know about y'all, but because y'all in that relationship and stuff.
You in a relationship, you want space.
I said, give me some distance, but at the same time, still be there.
What kind of relationship we talking about?
That don't make sense.
Matthew.
Bro.
For me?
Yeah.
We want to know where your head is at.
All right, so for me, whether it be a girlfriend, boyfriend type thing, or if it's a friend type thing, family member type thing, any of these things, I personally need certain space so I feel like I could breathe.
Cause you don't want nobody in your business.
It's like
all the time.
Yeah, it's not even because there's that. It's like I don't like you knowing everything about me.
Yeah.
So it's like you could track every one of my moves, but at the same time, it's like I like you being there, but I don't need you like all up on me because I feel I have issues with tight spaces, claustrophobia. So it's like I don't need you to be that close up on me. But at the same time, I'm okay with knowing that you're there. Like, if you're in a house, it's like, okay, you might be in the next room, or you might be in the kitchen, I'm in the living room. Knowing that you're there, I'm good with that. But if you're too on me, I can't deal with it.
All right, let's say, I don't know if you have a girlfriend. Now, I'm not going to put you out there.
Mm-hmm.
You have a girlfriend? No. But, let's say you had a girlfriend,
Mm-hmm.
I just, like Dwayne said, I want to know where your head is at. Would you want that kind of space where they're not... I mean, we're talking physical space or emotional space where...
No, emotional...
Like Minister Donovan said, all over your business.
I'm okay with being, to a certain extent, emotional. But when it comes to actual physical... Again, I have issues with closed spaces, so that's why I need certain distance.
Wife all up on you.
No, I don't mind it every now and again, but it's like not all the time. It's like I need some, mix it up. It's like anything get kind of old after a while, so yeah.
Okay. Well, for me, when it comes down to boundaries and setting boundaries, it really depends on who it is, the level of our relationship, the type of relationship we have. You know, with my husband, I don't know if every relationship have boundaries. If it's even automatic boundaries without you even knowing, you know, it's basically me knowing you, knowing what you like, understanding you, and maybe I'm the one setting the boundaries on your behalf. Because I know, all right, sometimes miserable and he don't want certain kind of, so you know his mood, you know the time, you know when, how, you know, sometimes you know when to say what not to say. It all depends on, like I said, the level of your relationship and the type of relationship that you're in. When it comes on to friendship, like friends, just also levels. You know, everybody is not your best friend. Everybody is not just, you know, your demi friend or your, however you want to put it. Like, not the bestest friend, but a good friend. And then you have your, like I said, levels. You have people where you just associate with, hey, what's up? You have your WhatsApp friend or your Facebook friend or your Instagram friend. And then you have your friends where you hang out with a certain time of the week. You have another friend where you hang out with work friends, school friends.
Food friend.
We just sit down and eat with. I just want to go to dinner. I just want to eat with you. Nothing else.
Yeah, I got you.
You know, but it depends on the relationship that we're talking about. So in general, you know, I mean, this is really a wide topic. It is.
Hey.
When I think about boundaries, it's like what it says, can be defined as limits we set with other people, whether it be your boyfriend, girlfriend, friendship, whatever it is. Limits we set with other people which indicate that we find acceptable and unacceptable in their behavior towards us. That's what boundaries are.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, you talking about your space, that has nothing to do with boundaries. Boundaries has to do with, like, what are you going to put in place where somebody don't, like, really mess with? What you always talk about, your trust issues. Okay? What would you put in place so somebody don't mess with your trust issues? That's what boundaries are.
So, how do you describe that, though? Because for me, it's like...
It can be.
Yeah, I believe so.
Of course. The boundary, the word boundary, I believe is initially a physical thing. You understand? And it you kind of just, you understand what I mean? A boundary?
It could translate. It could translate from physical into because, like, if you're not gonna let somebody in physical close, you know they ain't gonna get in here.
Exactly.
So it translates. You know, so if I'm open to be like, you know, come close, then I'm letting you in here. Yeah. So it translates, whether we think it or not. I believe it does.
Because I feel like if you, just like what Evangelist Chaniel. All right, that's blessed. It's like Chaniel and Donovan was saying, I just like what they're saying is like, if you're gonna let somebody in physically close to you, to a certain extent, you're gonna let them in mentally. So it's like, and it's same as vice versa. If I'm not gonna, because it's like there's certain folks you feel comfortable as soon as you're physically okay with a person, you're willing to share certain things with them.
What would be a healthy boundary for you?
Healthy boundary is like, if I'm okay with letting you know who my family is, like outside of like certain situations, like for instance, you know them like, oh, they go to church, but it's like you get to see them outside of church, and we have certain discussions with you. We take you out and hang out with us or something like that. Then I'm like, okay, I'm actually, and then it's like when they're willing to share certain things with you, like, okay, I could open up more. But it's like if they're guarded, even though I should bring them around, it's like I know I still can't really get that close with you.
What's a healthy boundary?
I just think that respect first, and once we start there at respect, you know, then you know, and I know the person, and the person knows me, then that's the leeway that I give them, and that's the leeway I set. Because like if I got respect for someone, if I got respect for your house and you, I'm not gonna come and be like, hey, Mr. Hayden, why you got the fish tank over here? You need to put it over here. Why you got the TV over here? Don't put it over here. Or even like walk around your house like if you
want to rearrange stuff.
Or your house might be a house where like you have carpet, so you don't want to let people walk with shoes, so they put the shoes by the door. And I'm like, nah, I don't take my shoes off, and I'm walking all over your carpet. Like, out of respect, I don't care if I walk over my carpet and get my carpet dirty. I'm going to take my shoes off at your house if that's the way y'all do it at your house. I'm not going to just come in there and make my own rules. So that's how I see, like, boundaries is set off respect and things like that.
Evangelist, what's a healthy boundary?
Oh, God. Yeah. Healthy boundary. Minister Donovan kind of spoke a lot about that just now. Oh Lord, respect. I like that one. Respect. Boundaries, Lord, it really, to me, it just depends. Lord, help me. In my relationship, like husband and wife relationship, I don't know. We have boundaries. There's some boundaries, but I don't even know what they are really, because everything is kind of open and everything is a trial on a daily basis. You know, so you'll always learn in a relationship by trying, because sometimes today you'll like something tomorrow.
Why you laughing, minister?
Hey, that could be interpreted any kind of way.
He's trying to get something out of me, I think. That's what's happening, and it's not happening. Anyway, in friendship, depending on the level of friendship, but like my closest friend, I'm expecting, certain levels of, when it come on to boundaries, like I don't expect my personal business to be shared with others. I'm looking for a confidant, someone that I can trust with my business, and absolutely we have Jesus, but God made us here and He wants us to communicate with each other, and no man is an island. Everybody needs somebody.
That's true.
And so it like I said, it depends on the level of the relationship. But with any friend, regardless of how close we are or how, whatever our relationship is, there has to be some level of, we have to respect each other. We have to, we can't just go flying off at the mouth constantly. And that's just too much drama and too much, I have to be able to trust you.
Right.
To even call your friend.
Trust,
and that's a big boundary for me. Is trust.
What if you know someone like that, and that's just how they are, and do you accept that? Do you be like, well, that's how that person is. They ain't never gonna change.
But if you're not gonna sit there talking your business to that person, you know what I mean? It's different when they portray themselves to be something that they're not. That's when you get messed up. If I know you're a talkie, that's not going to prevent me from being your friend. I'll be your friend, just don't expect to hear my business. You know what I mean? But if you can't come to me as if, I'm your person and we close like that and then we're, we share personal information with each other where you expect me not to say. I shouldn't even have to tell you. You know what I mean? And it's that kind of relationship that we share. Hearing certain things is gonna mess you up away. You know what I mean? It's gonna completely cross the line, completely mess you up. The relationship could possibly be over based on that kind of thing. You know what I mean? If you portray yourself to be something that you're not.
I got a question.
So I trust you. And you're really not that person.
Because y'all know me. I'm not that big into having a lot of friends. So it's like, you said something, because it's like, I only view that person as maybe an associate or just someone that I know because of a situation. You said earlier about how you could have a friend who, talk too much. I can't have that. How do you still develop that friendship to that level?
This is how I usually get along. I would consider myself someone that gets along with most people.
Yeah, your personality.
Most people. I try. And what I have learned growing up is to actually get to know somebody, get to know certain things about them that you know you can and cannot live with. You understand? And people will always show you who they are. Even if it's 5 years down the line, but they will always show you who they are. And you should always seek to know who they are. Yeah. Deep inside.
That's the thing. I seek to know them, but I can't classify them as a friend.
It really just depends. I mean,
what you mean?
When it comes out to saying the word friend, it's kind of technical for me too.
Yeah,
but people generalize friendship. They do. They have friends that they just go to work. Oh, that's my friend from work. That's my friend from school. They don't even see each other but once a month or don't even talk on the phone. They just see each other at school or see each other. Like I see people at work and I'm like, oh, that's my friend from work. Really, I don't use it loosely, but just as an example. It's really just someone you associate with. You know them,
So what's the difference between associate and like more degree of friendship?
Once I'm on the phone with you.
Oh, like a day-for-day basis?
We can hang out.
When you think about a deeper relationship with a friend, that's pretty much a relationship. You know what I mean? You have crossed like different boundaries now. It's not like where you're like hey, what's going on? It's not like, oh, you just call like once a month or once in a blue moon. Now we're talking like every day or two, three, four, five, four or five times a day. You know, it becomes deeper than that. You know, it develops actually into a relationship. And a healthy boundaries for me, you know, number one is trust. Like, if I tell you something and I hear it back, like you ain't
somebody else.
That's not like a friendship to me. You know what I mean? We're just associates. So I know. You know, I can't really tell you something. I remember, you know, in my journey and everything right now, you know, the Lord is like, listen, learn how to walk alone. And it was not, it wasn't really that hard for me, you know what I mean? Because you start to look for confidence in other things, other areas, you know, and then you understand, like, you know, when you're around certain people or around people for a while, you know, you start to distance yourself from them because you start to see their persona, you start to see who they really are.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter who they are. They could be in leadership, they could be, you know, whatever they are. You know, you start to see certain things and you distance yourself. And you're distancing yourself to really, you know, to keep your relationship with God on a different level.
That's true.
Because I mean, I could get full in deep in a friendship with you, and then I see certain ways and I ignore it. But when I ignore it now, guess what? At the end of the day, it's going to start affecting me. And when it started, anything that affects us as human beings affects our relationship with God.
Yeah.
Because we go through it. It's called emotions. And I noticed like a few little things with like, you know, people I be around, you know, and associate with, and I just say, you know what, I'm going to put them at a distance because like, first of all, like if we're going to be like cool or or like, I'm a loyal person. Like if I say I got your back, I got your back. I mean, it could be one rowboat, one canoe, I'm there with you. You know, that's just me. And when I started to see like, you know, you're not like paddling the same way I'm paddling, you know, I started to open my eyes and look at certain things. And one thing I really like dislike in life is like when you're talking to somebody and they cut you off. You know what I mean? That's just like so disrespectful for me. Like, okay, I'm like, we're having a conversation and you're just gonna like, you know, just cut the person off. I don't like that. So when I started to see certain traits that I know is gonna affect my walk, you know, with Christ, you know, I just start to like, you know what, this ain't for me, that ain't for me. And I just keep it as an associate. Do I still love you? Do I still respect you? Of course. You know, but don't expect for us to be hanging out and chilling and talking on the phone 3, 4, 5 times a day. That's just not going to work for me. Now, the boundaries with me and my wife is that, you know, we have an open relationship with us. You know, where it's like me and her. Like, I could tell her X and she could tell me Y, and it stays right here.
Hey, you got to be careful with that word, man, because a lot of people interpret it different.
Which word?
Open relationship.
Oh, no. Yeah. I was
listening
with, just like,
she said with me and my wife.
Yeah, he cleared that one up.
This ain't no entanglement, you know, we're not on that level, you know, but, you know, it's a, and when I say open relationship, I mean like open communication, open to do things, to try things, to do things with one another. You know, is there boundaries? There have to be boundaries because she always tell me if you keep doing the same thing every day, I almost say crap. If you keep doing the same thing every day, you know, it's starting not to become
spontaneous.
Yeah. You know, and I remember when Minister Mon is like, if you're doing something out of like just doing it, you're not getting any pleasure of it. It starts to be like, what's the sense of me doing it? Yeah. You know, it's a lot of different things you start to learn along the way. You heard Apostle said it Sunday, like, you know, he just found out that his wife liked colors. I mean, she always liked colors, but it's just in his eyes. Yeah. Because he's old school. Yeah. You know, to be honest, they just dressed the one solid color coming out. And now colors is in.
He called you old school.
You gotta love me. That's what he always said. That's your words going back at you. You know, but, you know, we're in an era or age now where we're going to wear like different colors. We're going to do the things like, you're going to see me in pink. You know, you're going to see me in different colors. It doesn't matter to me. Everything. Where back in the days, they just stuck with black, blue, green, you know, solid colors. Yeah, for some reason.
Prime colors, man.
Yeah.
And that's why I said earlier, like, even in the relationship where, even with certain things, depending on what it is, that I know he doesn't like. Yeah. Or think he doesn't like. I'll try it every now and then.
You have to.
Just to tweak and say, let me see if him like it today. Because I'm like, today I'll like one thing, tomorrow I won't. So it's hard for him to keep up.
I remember you said that one time.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Today I'll like it, tomorrow I don't. Yeah. So I'm back in the days, Dwayne used to, he know that I like red. I don't love everything to be red. You You know what I mean? I don't want to be wearing red clothes every day. I don't want my car to be red.
Yeah.
But I love the color red in some things.
And then change
He'll, just because I like it, he's everything red. Like, really?
That's just pleasure in you, to be honest. You know what I mean?
You can't say that.
No, you can't say that. I'm perfectly fine.
No.
Yeah, that's fine.
My talk about them white, so
exactly.
it's
well,
like,
that's not what he's doing by him.
What else somebody doing? Just like what's that thing? White chocolate. What do you call it? The white chocolate, like chocolate bar.
Anything
Hershey's.
in white chocolate.
Yeah, Hershey's white chocolate. Like they never used to have them regular, so they come out once in a blue moon.
Yeah,
so whenever they come out, I used to buy like a stack of them. Like I know you like this. Like
right, I get it. I get it. I understand. But like I said, there's certain things that I like today and don't like tomorrow. So you still try it every now and then.
So in other words, he's fine tuning.
No, but okay. For
Tweaking,
instance,
checking.
If you know how a person just is one way, right? Don't you feel like it's kind of your duty to break them out of that sometimes?
Absolutely, but
instead of just like cut them off and to be like, you just stay over there and I'm gonna stay over here.
Yeah, you stay where.
Don't you think it's like, hey, like, man, you don't eat this. Try this, man. You don't. Why don't you?
That? It's like I find that to be difficult with people who are kind of.
Well, because sometimes
stuck in their ways.
Well, sometimes
to break someone out of certain things,
like,
or for them to break you.
It's like you're the person like trying new foods, but that person is like, I like this. I haven't tried that, but I think it's nasty. How do you? Because I noticed it.
You're just gonna say it's nasty without trying it.
Exactly.
Okay, that's it. Okay.
Some people
I used to babysit, and I found it aggravating because some kids. I love the ones who like trying different things, but the ones who's like,
chicken nuggets,
that's nasty. I want you bringing them to a nice, that's a decent restaurant, Applebee's, so they could try diversity.
Yeah.
Nah, I want to go to McDonald's.
Yeah.
But not only that, but then you have some people that will go to the same restaurant order the same thing all the time, and that's me.
Man, look, my wife does the same thing. Now, look what I have to do with my wife. Every time she goes, she gonna get the same thing. So you know what I have to do? Instead of getting the same thing that I like,
get something separate.
I get something different, so she can try something new. You see what I'm saying? To try and break her out. So, but sometimes I get stuck with something that ain't, you know what I'm saying, the experiment. It don't really taste good. Because I'm trying to break her out of what she knows. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. But I believe, like, in friendship, there should be boundaries. In relationship, there should be boundaries. You know, and the boundaries that you set is based on everybody individual. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, I could probably be able to stomach something in a friendship where you might not be able to stomach
Definitely,
it. You understand what I'm saying? So I cannot set a boundary for you, but you should be able to set a boundary to where it's like with me right now. Like, I have a huge boundary. Like, I went from, like, eating, like, a mountain of rice, like eating all the rice, and leave the meat, and then go back for more rice to where now I just eat no rice. So that was like a big switch. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And you're talking about bread and all that stuff. It's like that's a big switch.
Yeah.
You know, so that's a boundary I'm putting where like, okay, now when I go out and then like the stuff I used to love to eat and I see rice or whatever, it's one food that I really love.
Fries.
It's French fries. And I mean, like, I just can't give it up for some reason. And, you know, if you understand yourself and understand your body, you know, never neglect something because you're gonna fall right back into it.
Yeah.
So if you take away all your love, you know what I mean, and not even like say I'm gonna hold on to this one love, you know what I mean, because guess what? Out of all, like I gave up like 90% of everything, but this 110%.
Yeah.
You know, then to me like you can make it.
Yeah.
Like when you give up everything, it's rough. You know, it's tough.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm trying to work my way out of not eating fries, but it's kind of tough right now because I gave up the rice and everything else. You know, but you know, it's boundaries that you have to set, and you know, it's like now, you know, my whole thought process and like everything with me have to change as far when it comes to eating.
It does.
You know, everything has to change, and it's just like in a friendship. Once you have a boundary, now if somebody crosses that boundary, what do you do? That's the question. What do you do?
Yeah.
Because I mean, think about us. Think about us as believers. How many boundaries we cross every day on Christ? Yeah. You know what I mean? Because the Bible says we all fall we all fall short and we sin daily.
Yeah.
So how many times? So are you going to do the same thing for your friendship or your spouse, or you're just going to keep? Are you going to say, listen, like, no, hold on, let's pull this one back. You know, let's not really have a tug of war, but let's pull it back and let's discuss this.
Yeah.
You know, and let you understand, like, listen, like, you cross this boundary and it affects me. You know, so what are we going to... Because, I mean, like... And I could put myself out there. You know, I crossed a lot of boundaries with my wife, you know, with our first, when we were like in the baby stage of our marriage. And it became a point where she actually like wised up, you know, before I did. And she was like, okay, let me find a different angle or find a different way, you know. And she actually did that, where she, instead of like lashing out at me, she comes to me and she was starting to talk to me and say, listen, like, I don't like this, or this bothers me, or, you know what I mean? And then guess what? When the Lord started to work on me, you know, I started to listen and started to take it in. And I became a sponge now and started soaking in everything that was being spoken to me. And I started to listen. And then I said, okay, listen, like, okay, I know I crossed that line. So let me, you know, work on this and work on that. You know, so what would you do? You know, just asking around the table, like if you're in a great friendship with somebody or a relationship and they cross the boundary, what do you do?
I think what Evangelist said was, even if you're not sure or how the person is going to handle it or take it, you try something a little bit different to see if you could get through. And judging by what you try and how it works, if it's successful, you try again a little bit more. You know, if it doesn't work, you come away from it a little bit. But then you still come and bring something back that's different than like maybe just lashing out.
Yeah.
You got to try different ways.
Try different angles, yeah.
Like when you said trust, you got to think about this. Without respect, without trust, there's something that comes that helps that out, and that's communication. Like, you got to daily be in communication with someone to find out, you know, why is this person acting this way? Why is this person, you get what I'm saying? Yeah. So if like we communicate on a daily basis, I know where you at. Instead of I communicated with you one time, 6 hours later, I don't know where you at. And I don't know what route you went to get where you at. You could be mad, and I don't know that, you know, a dog chased you, the police pulled you over, blah, blah, this, blah, blah, that. And I might be coming with that same thing. If I don't understand, I might be harassing you and pestering you like that dog that was chasing you, relentless. But I don't know, and it's not really my fault because I really haven't communicated with you. So it kind of goes both ways. So if we stay in constant communication, you see what I'm saying? Then I'm going to know where you at.
Absolutely.
Oh, boy, that dog was chasing you. I'm going to try, oh, boy, that police pulled you over. I ain't going to add to that. I'm going to try and take away from that. And I believe that's what happens to us a lot of times. We don't stay in communication with each other to find out how we should approach somebody. And then by the time, well, we at nuclear. We ready to blow up. Boom. Atom cloud, you know? And I think if we were to even communicate, man, you don't even know the day I had. Don't come with no nonsense right now. And if we was even to just say that, the person would be able to feel us out and be able to handle us according to, you know, how we would need to be handled. So communication is a big part.
Wow.
Yeah. That is true.
Well, for me, I know back in the day, I did one of a few things. I'll ghost you. But before I ghost you, I would like shut down, because it's like, when I wasn't that kid who wants to argue all the time. Still not that type of person, but especially when I was younger, and my mom and dad, oh, do you think I'm a liar or something like that? My brother and sister, yeah, you were a liar. That's just them. But for me, I'm like, I just hold my tongue, because they're like, oh, little kids, you just holding tongue, whatever. I was that type of person. So it's like, but as I got older, what I'll do, if it's somebody that isn't that close, I will say something vicious, because you, I felt like you hurt me. Again, younger days. And then, and then after a while, I was like, you know what? Saying something vicious ain't gonna help you. That's just gonna start fights. So I'm just not gonna say nothing. I'm distance myself away from you. But as I got older, I'm like, that's even worse. That's even worse, because nothing is resolved and the issue is still there. Because so I'm like, you know what? I'm not gonna argue with you in front of a whole bunch of people. I'm not gonna. Yes, I'm gonna be upset, but I'm gonna talk to you afterwards, and just so we could get clear the air. It's like either I'll text you, or I'll talk to you face to face, or I'm gonna try to figure out how we could resolve this. But it's like younger days, yeah, I'm gonna go see you. And it's like you, I wouldn't even try to resolve anything. I was like, oh, gotta handle this, and then just dip, just leave it alone. but that doesn't really solve anything. So what I've done nowadays is, at least I'm not gonna argue in front of people with you. I'm not gonna do all this extra stuff. I just want to figure out what's going on. So I'm gonna ask you some questions, and we could do that back and forth.
Yeah.
But it's like, if it's repetitive, I might go see again. I'm be honest. But it's like, if it's as long as we get the clarified, because it's like a few days ago when I'm gonna just use this as the best example. It's like my dad wanted me to bring down one of them test thermometer gun things, and it's like we talked about it. I'm like, yes, forgot to bring it the first day, but the thing is, my flight didn't go down, so I had to reschedule for another day. Kept on talking about it. I'm like, I got this. Don't worry, I'm bringing it with me.
Yeah.
I thought we clear on it. He dropped the line. I was like, okay. Only to find out he called me a few seconds later about the same issue. I don't like repeating myself too many times. If I said I'm going to take care of it, I especially when I know I messed up the first time, I'm going to definitely take care of it.
Yeah, but don't you think it's fair that someone kind of just make sure you don't mess up again?
Listen.
Especially to mess them up.
I think it's most of the fact that he just probably prejudging you.
Yeah, it's like that prejudge is like, oh,
yeah, but it's based on something there's some experience that they've had to do before.
I said, I am sorry. I'm going to take care of it.
What does that change? I've heard sorry and the same thing happened again.
That, but I needed to bring it down that day, the following day, because that's when my flight is. So I make sure I got it, but it's like he's on my ears about it. So I'm like, you know what?
Right.
Click.
Did you bring it?
I'm not gonna argue anymore.
Did you bring it or did you forget?
I brought it.
Okay, but
yet still, I felt like it wasn't used as much as. I felt like it wasn't used as much as
the importance he was making behind it.
Yeah, because there's somebody else who brought one without us knowing.
Wow.
So it's like I felt like we used it earlier in the day. I know that for sure. But for the rest of the day, I felt like nobody used it. So I felt a certain way. And I had to, after everything was done, because I'm not going to bring up the issue in front of people. I don't feel like certain things need to be brought up in front of people. But when it's like, at the end of the day, we cleared it up. And everything went smooth from there. So it's like.
So did you just like here go your thermometer?
I was raised well, so it's like.
I understand.
So I'm like.
he already brought that energy on the phone when he hung it up. So
I'm like, hey, I told you this, and then it's like. I was kind of upset because when I got to the place and I saw that it was just there on the table, I'm like, wait.
Did you mention
this? But you know something that with your father, you already know he probably got like 3, 4, 5 people bringing it.
Yeah,
exactly. That's what it is. Don't trust you. Don't trust nobody. Even though
your boundaries right there with your father, he don't trust you, bro.
It's not just trust me. It's not just you, Matthew, and you know that. He's like that with everybody.
Yeah, he's
like
everybody. Yes. Sir.
Same question for you.
What
when somebody crossed that boundaries, how do you handle it?
Oh Jesus.
Do or die.
I feel your pain, man.
My pain?
It is do or die, ain't it?
Oh, you don't got no pain? All right, I take that back then. It's like, oh man, you live with.
I ain't got nothing but love, bro.
Lord change your heart, right?
Of course.
Oh my God, you hear that, Chief? Lord changed his mindset. So it's like he got nothing but love.
You've been around me for almost 8 years. If you ever seen it, then you need Jesus.
It gotta be a night and day change.
Exactly.
It has to.
Is that hard?
Still waiting on me?
She thought we forgot.
If somebody, right? I really did. I was hoping I would
we still need to hear the answer.
All right. So somebody crossed the line. It depends on how far the line them cross. Like, for example, if we're talking about a relationship, spousal relationship, one of the biggest boundaries that we all know is infidelity.
Yeah.
Don't cross that. Ain't gonna get another chance to.
But what if you cross the line and you got another chance?
Because I crossed the line and got a chance.
I was just asking, yeah.
That's very
I'm
interesting.
thinking
Yeah, because if
afterwards
you
saying,
if
well,
you
I
cross
did it
the line,
so.
then it's not even saying it's not even saying like, oh, you did it, so it's okay for the other person to do it. It's a fact of saying like, okay, you crossed that line,
It's crazy.
and then now that person get caught in a situation where it's like, people go through emotions, people go through issues where stuff still comes up.
Same difference.
And when it comes up, it hits you hard. You know what I mean? And that person might not be strong enough to like say, listen, like,
That body language to your left.
I'm not worried about that.
Amen. Preach, brother. 8 years.
Because
God's been with him, so it's
you know what it is like. God extends so much grace on us, and we extend grace on some people. And the thing is that like a lot of people don't extend grace back on you because they never experienced it.
Yeah.
And when you experience the grace, when you mess up and somebody forgives you, no matter what it is, no matter what you're going through, because no turmoil, no nothing that could like go through in life, you know what I mean, you should talk about infidelity, you know what I mean, or even doing something of that, because like now in the church, you get to understand different spirits. So, you go out there and mess around, guess what? Now you're bringing that spirit in our house. You know what I mean? In our home, basically. So, you go out there and do that, and then that person give you the grace and forgives you, and now you're moving on, and then like people get hit with emotions hard, and that person could get hit back with that emotion, and they're like, man, look at this, man, like,
and then they fall into infidelity,
but
it's okay.
But anything could be infidelity. It doesn't even have to be like intimate. It could be like, okay, you're at work and you and somebody create a bond and you kiss. That's infidelity. You know what I mean? It might not be the same depth, but we have to understand like humans are humans, and you mess up. That don't mean the other person should mess up or the other person should go out there and do the same thing to be, spiteful. That's what I'm looking for. It's not like you're being spiteful, but, like, if you think about, like, infidelity in the whole is just, like, to me, it's like, no matter what, in a relationship or what, Matthew sent me a thing one time where, this couple was having this issue, and the guy was, like, sitting there telling the girl, like, listen, like, we've been together for so long, and, there's many boundaries that have just been crossed, and I really feel like I just need to go out there and find somebody else. I really feel like I need to just, like, go cheat on you. And, it's like he was sitting there.
He said that?
Yeah, he was telling her that. And she still never got it. You know what I mean? She never understand like what the man is saying, and a lot of time man is saying.
Did he explain what kind of boundaries?
Yes, he was explaining everything.
He wasn't breaking up with her, but he was saying he was
just saying like he was telling her like X, Y, like 1, 2, 3, 4, and he's like, listen, like I'm about to do it because like you're crossing all these boundaries.
Oh, is it the one where she's not?
She had an issue with
giving up,
right?
Even though he stopped, he hasn't messed around, for a long time. She still brings up old issues, so it's like, why should I stay in this relationship or at least stay committed to you if you still gonna bring
that can get frustrating, but at the same time you do have to put yourself in the other person's shoe where they, she has been cheated on. I'm sure it hurt like hell, and she made up her mind to stay with this person. And every now and then, maybe there's just something that's still there. He's not cheating anymore. He's not, but there might be something that's still lingering that he's doing or something he's saying or something is bringing up some memory somewhere that every now and then causes her to lose that, that very little bit of trust that she barely even gained it back, obviously.
Okay, but
you know what I mean?
It could be.
Yeah, she's scarred, and there's some deeper
Donovan,
issues.
It could be like, say for instance, like your spouse messed around on you or whatever it is, and it doesn't matter what it is. Your spouse now could have a friend of the same sex, and it's still gonna bother you.
Yeah.
But you have to find a way to like tell yourself, like, bro, like, it's just not that, and you have to like convince yourself.
It's you.
It's you.
It is.
Yeah. So like people don't understand, like, when you do something to someone and it hurts them, it doesn't matter what it is. Basically, you know what I mean. It could be opposite, same. It could be a cat, a dog. Once you're showing more affection or emotions to that person, other than that your spouse, it could bother them.
No, that's
I got an issue with it's weird. I think it's just me. I don't know about y'all.
Yeah,
I think a little different.
I'm just
Hey, I think a little different. We have one of our folks on here, they said something about forgiveness. I got issues with that word because I'm still trying to get a better understanding. I want to get a better understanding of it because it's like a lot of people say they forgive you, but at the same time you mess up another time and they want to bring up that old issue.
They ain't forgive.
Like, why would you say that you forgive me? You forget. You're supposed to. They say sometimes.
Let me tell you what happened, Matthew.
Preaching about forgiving and forget, but
let me tell you what happened. Let me tell you what happened.
Mm-hmm.
Forgive, but don't
there
forget.
are some people. I'm speaking from a deep place.
Mm-hmm.
There are some people that will never understand what it is that they have done to you. So the apology that they gave you really was like you have a big nasty cut and they decided they're just going to get some Band-Aid and put over it. Wrap it up. Let's wrap it up, man. Wrap it up. And 6 months later, you're smelling something and you're like, what is that? You never dealt with the issue. You understand what I'm saying? And like I said, it's coming from a deep place. Very deep place.
did they deal with it with you?
Never dealt, no.
Oh, I'm sorry.
They did not deal with it with me. And I got issues regarding this kind of stuff. Seriously. Ain't got nothing to do with my husband, trust me. But seriously, I'm talking about friendship. And you are explaining something. You're expressing yourself. You put your entire heart on the table.
Yeah, it's like
and you're like, this is how I feel about this.
It's true.
And they're like, oh, it's all right. I'm sorry. And then it's the same thing happening over and over. And a year later, it's worse than it was before. And that is what messes up people when it comes down to trust. You understand what I'm saying? You have to really, I always say this, if you don't understand where I'm coming from, let's not even bother.
Fact.
I need you to at least try to understand where I'm coming from. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Just try. Don't just let it go through one ear and just move on. I just want to move on because you make my world okay and I want you to be in my world and I just want you to be happy. And let's just move on.
So if the
we
person
can't move on if it's not fixed.
And so if the person did embrace what you were trying to say, did understand it, been like, oh, I'm sorry I did that. You know, I used to have one like that, and just paid like undivided attention to your need. Do you still think that you would? It would heal better?
There would be healing.
It would heal
Absolutely. Because not only that, if someone is genuine with you and genuinely cares about what you and sees where you're coming from and works towards fixing that and not doing it, they would, first of all, they're not going to do it again. They're not even going to, it's sort of like shunning the very appearance of evil. They're not even going to try to make it look like they're going down that road again. You understand what I'm saying? So you will see the effort, you'll feel the effort, and then you will want to, start trying to heal, because you can actually help yourself heal. It's not that person that's gonna make you heal, but at least you will feel the need to try, because you see that they are making the effort to make you.
It's a two-way.
It's a two-way street.
It is definitely a two-way
But look,
street.
you remember that song? I found love on a two-way street, I lost it on a lonely highway. That's true, bro.
Yeah.
That is true if you think about it.
Right.
Because when you found love, it was a two again. But guess what? When that person is gone,
You on your
you
own.
by yourself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
hey, let me tell you something. When you talk about like forgiveness, that word right there it's a big word. And if you really think about forgiveness, let's not think about you're forgiving somebody for, man, I'm gonna forgive you, man, because you have me up, da 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 da. No, you're forgiving somebody for yourself.
It is.
So you could detach.
Yeah.
Because if you don't detach yourself from that situation, no matter what, you're still gonna be tied to it. Like people says, love takes time. Healing takes time. It does take time, and I'm not gonna say, oh, my 2 months and you're 6 months, I'm gonna judge you on that, da 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 da. You can't do that, but it does take time to heal. But if you're healing after a year, something's wrong with that picture.
There's some people that like to wallow in self-pity and
don't wallow in
feel
self-pity.
like,
That's
poor me,
not gonna help.
That's not
gonna help you grow in life. You know what I mean? No, like it's, and I can only put myself out there. Like I've been through some stuff, and when I sit back and like say for instance, like I'm going through something and it comes back in my mind. Nah, bro, I need to let that go. Especially something that happened years ago. You know what I mean? And it starts to come back. It's like my brother used to always talk about something. He thought about it. He brought it up to me the other day. I looked at it like, so it is what it is. You know what I mean? I'm moving on now. But like 2 or 3 years ago when he brought it back to my attention, guess what? I got back into that place. Where I just wanted I wanted to go deal with that. You know, but I have to learn to let stuff go so I can grow. And I could fall in love with somebody else. I could fall, you know, I mean, like friendship, you know, I could have a friendship with somebody else, because if I move from here to here and I have not healed, guess what? All I'm going to do is just bring all this emotional baggage with me. And like Minister Amon said, you have to empty it out to get filled back up, you know. And you know, so I saw a post the other day. You know, when I saw the post, I wrote on there like, no. They were like, listen, like, I've been through so many hurts in my life. Like, I built up these bricks. So whenever you come to my friendship or my relationship, now you're going to have to climb. And I'm like, no. Like, it's just not necessary for somebody just to climb to get to know you. You know, we should have a welcoming spirit.
Yeah,
you know, no matter what, you know what I mean? Where somebody comes to you and you're like, hey, how are you doing? You're like, fine, da-da-da-da-da. You just have a one-on-one conversation and a genuine, you know, associate, friendship, relationship with that person. If you have to let people climb to get to you,
I think it's worth the climb if I want to know you and I want to be your friend, and I genuinely, it is worth every scratch and bruise. No, what does that have to do with being a child of God?
Are you climbing every day?
You have to use wisdom. How are we talking about Christ in our relationship? But
you have to involve Christ in everything we do.
Absolutely, but Christ did say you have to be wise as a serpent.
So
and harmless as a dove. But there's nothing wrong with someone seeking to know who you are. I'm not just going to open up myself and open up my business and open up so everybody can run in and hurt me and do whatever they want to do. No. You want to know me? Get to know me. It just simply means that you're not just going to get everything just like that. Work towards knowing me, just like I'll work towards knowing you.
Nobody gets 100% of somebody to just meet.
Well, I'm gonna use a person.
You want to get to know what's over the wall, climb.
I know that I don't really do it often. I usually say friends and stuff like that when it's actually friends, but just so y'all know. But I'm gonna use a personal situation. I remember when I was in grade school, first coming to this country, starting elementary school and stuff like that. I was that person because in Jamaica, you were willing to be. You don't put up any defenses when you're trying to make friends because they're not out there to get you. Just to, in grade school, I don't know what higher grades at the time, but in grade school, you just making friends. Yeah. We try to do the same thing.
It's
up
almost
here.
innocent.
It's usually innocent.
And then it's like the person I wouldn't. Up to this day, I don't classify this person as a friend. It was somebody who I was trying to get to know, as an associate that I'm trying to make more of a friend. Yeah. And it's like the person ended up stealing. My mom always runs a partner, you know that. So it's like the guy ended up breaking into my house, stealing twice, and that we end up catching the person, my cousin, and law enforcement got involved and stuff like that. I apologize, but it's like my mom and dad. Every so often when I was young, especially when I was younger, that's why I don't trust people like that, and it's take a while before I could let somebody in, because it's like they always saying, "Oh, you remember when your friend did this?" I'm like, I thought you forgive me. Why you keep on bringing? So it's like I had issues not only with making friends, but with trusting my parents with anything. Because it's like every few seconds you bringing up these old things, and it really affected me to the point where I still don't fully trust people. It's like I don't put up any like visible barriers. It's like, oh, I don't want you, but at the same time, it's like it's there, and it's like I'm observing, and I'm everything that you do. Yeah. I'm over analyzing it to the point where I can't like allow you in, and it's like I'm getting better, but it's still there. And it's like my mom and dad, they don't use it against me anymore because I seen that they truly forgive me with more time, because I do respect where you come from when you say about the time thing. But during my growing years, this is from elementary school up to college. I ain't want to call it technical school.
College,
higher education.
Higher education. Every so often they would bring it up, and before I got a closer relationship with God, I used to. It really grind me to the point where I'm like, it made me start thinking negative. Like, you call yourself this, and it's like you still judging me for stuff that I told you before. But it's like as I got older and I started looking more to God, because it's like I couldn't trust people. It's like I realized that it's something that I'm gonna have to deal with because of I'm not. This is not God. This person is not God. But if I give them time, they will. And I've showed them more than anything else that my friends aren't like this. It's like the people I hang around with is not this way, but they're this way. They're more quality people, and it's like they start realizing he really changed. He started doing stuff better, but at the same time, I'm putting you more on you as my friend. You are on a microscope. It's like everything you do is like. I might give you blind 1 or 2 times, but if you see, and that's why I can't do the talk thing, because it's like I could only deal with you so much. So it's like he said earlier about a 1 a month thing. I'm like, yeah, you're a good friend if I call you that much.
Oh my God, once a month?
I'm dead serious. It's like because I don't. Me and my mom, we don't talk. We don't go out of our way. We call people on a regular. You know the shit with my mom. It's like
I'm just like that though.
Really? But yeah, it's like we don't really go out the way to call people. It's like, but we still love you. It's not that the love is gone. It's just that, hey, give me that space.
You know, it's the story in the Bible with Oprah. Mm-hmm. You know, and when Oprah's like, listen, man, I had enough. I'm done. I'm out. Peace. And Ruth is like, man, I ain't leaving my mother-in-law at all. You know what I mean? And if you really, believe the Bible, and read the Bible, you will see where the Bible is actually warning you of things that's going to happen. If you really read it to get a revelation. Yeah. So, a lot of us has been in a lot of friendship, relationships, or whatever it is, and it's you don't get that time back. No. And I think that's what hurts a lot too, because you invested so much time in something, and it becomes a point to where, like, if you write a book, that's going to be in it because it's been so long, and you don't get that time back. People always talk about money and all this and that. Money is nothing compared to your time, and when you give somebody your time and they cross that boundary where it has to be like, you know what, this is enough, I got to move on. And a lot of folks will say, listen, I'm moving on to protect me, and it's actually, you're right. Protect yourself. Because it doesn't make no sense to be living or being in a toxic friendship or a toxic relationship. The person has the same trait over and over and over and over. It's time to get out of it. And Sister Samantha said earlier, like, you're telling me the person, like, messed around and you were supposed to work it out. Work it out. You know what I mean? Try and work it out. You know what I mean? Is it going to hurt? Is it going to take time? Yes, it is. But try and work it out. Listen, the Bible tells us, listen, we all got to take up our cross daily and follow him. Everybody's cross is different. That might have to be the cross you got to carry at that point and that time. You're going to have to bear that cross and see, hey, if it's too heavy, you can't handle it, then guess what? You're going to have to put it down and then move on. But he says, pick up your cross daily and follow him. Everybody's cross is different. My cross is different from your cross. So some people have kids that has Down syndrome. That's their cross they got to carry. You know what I'm saying? So, when it comes to the boundaries, I mean, I could be a fool and say, listen, don't have no boundaries and just do whatever, because Christ have no boundaries and whatever. Christ was 100% man and 100% God. So guess what? He was the same God that wept when Lazarus died. Well, guess what? He was the same God that said, Lazarus, come forth. So he had that dual nature. Us, when we get our emotions involved and it hits us, the first thing we quick to do is what? Ghost them, like you said. Yeah. We quick to say, you know what, I'm done.
Yeah. Block them.
That's our reflex.
But I wouldn't say to block somebody. I mean, it's like, I remember, like, in when I was going to high school, and like, people be like, yo, like, you messing with, like, say for instance, like, I was messing with a girl, and then they're like, yo, I seen her around the corner, like, bro, I'm not gonna talk down to the girl or call her out by her name or nothing like that. I'm still got respect for her. But guess what, at the end of the day, it shows that you're the bigger person, you're the better person. And you could have done, like, call them out by the name and, do all this and say all that. But guess what? The fact that you held a straight head or whatever, that girl ended up chasing you. or vice versa, so we have to try to play stuff out in our head before we even jump to conclusion and jump to really hit our emotions, because people are gonna always cross your boundaries. You always set boundaries, and some of us
that's what they're made for.
Yeah, some of us, it's just like law. Don't speed limit 45.
Yeah.
Man, I got up late this morning. I got to be to work at 9. You gonna haul tail to try to make it to work at 9?
That's what it is.
Exactly.
The law is made to be broken.
It's made to be broken. So it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how high you put your wall up. Somebody gonna tear that wall down.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And it's gonna hurt, but it's just how you recover.
That's it.
And that's what it boils down to. Your recovery thing is what matters. Just like working out, you break your muscles every day, but then guess what? You have to recover. So it's gonna hurt. It's gonna take time. But you just have to recover. And once you start recovering and you get in that recovery process, a lot of people are guarded. A lot of people are like, listen, I'm still going through the hurt. I'm still facing this. I'm still doing that. And the thing that to me, as human beings, what we do, we give people too much control over us.
Yes, sir.
So when we go through this situation, we go through the hurt, then guess what? It hit us hard. It's a song. I think it's Maroon 5 singing. It says, what am I supposed to do when the best part of me was always you? How am I supposed to be okay with? No, how am I supposed to pretty much move on? When I'm messed up and you're okay.
Yeah.
I'm falling into pieces. I'm breaking into pieces.
Yeah.
And that's if you really think about that song, it's a good song. He says, how am I gonna move on? When my best part was you.
Yeah.
How am I gonna move on now when
ain't that sad?
I'm over here wobbling. I'm over here waddling and crying and everything, and I'm looking at you. Instagram, chilling out with Mr. Mine. You drinking a daiquiri and all this good stuff, chilling. And I'm over here that's where you have to get to the mindset. Listen, you all right? What am I doing?
Yeah.
What Jamaican people are saying, ain't no tree growing in my face.
Move on.
So you have to move on, and just like Oprah, listen, when people want to walk out your life, man, let them go. No matter what, Oprah. I always say it wrong, sorry.
Okay.
So when people want to walk out your life, man, my biggest thing is to just let them go, man. Don't try and hold them. Don't try and then don't even call me like you want to borrow no sugar. You want to use.
Now you in
I'm not in my feelings.
You are if you don't want to make no sugar.
No,
give some sugar and some
don't call me.
Kool-Aid.
Don't call me.
Can I have some
Don't
sugar?
call me. Don't call me no more.
That is not the right spirit, Minister Hayden.
I'm gonna do like Brother Matthew. I'm gonna ghost you.
That was my past self.
All in your feelings.
Now it's. I might say, hey.
But that takes part of recovery too.
Listen.
You gotta leave the door open.
All it takes is for you to be moving on and that person call you, start conversating, guess what? You open back them doors.
Not necessarily.
It's a distance.
Not necessarily. You can create some space for yourself.
Boundaries.
You can put a little bit of space, especially when the hurt fresh. You can put some space. Separate yourself a little bit, kind of go on the backside of the desert and work out your mental status and try to figure some stuff out.
You test them? Do you test it? Do you put some booby traps there and test it? Do you test it?
We call the mines.
Yeah, some trip. You know what I'm saying? Do you test it to see if they gonna do it again? Yeah.
I don't really put booby traps. I just leave the door open and see if you're gonna steal or it's you gonna help.
Yeah, that's pretty much the same thing.
It's same, but it's
I ain't
gonna
set up this camera. I'm gonna set up this camera right here. I'm gonna check you out while you don't even know.
That's what happened.
I'm not gonna put anything to cause you to fall before you get your goal. I'm like, nah. You're gonna see how far you're gonna take this.
That's what happens to the women or even the men with that same relationship we were talking about, where the woman was just consistently bringing up the old thing consistently. She was the one setting the booby traps and to the point where even her mind was telling her that it was happening.
I feel
she's sleeping and she hear the rat traps going and nobody is there.
I feel like
you understand what I'm saying?
I feel to go out of your way to try and coerce somebody into doing something wrong. Yeah. I feel like that forgiveness ain't there, and that shouldn't even be a part of what we do. But I know people do it though, and I know people look to see. Let me see if this person is gonna do me that again, and they set the bait, they set the trap for it to happen. And I feel that you're helping that person Like if that's that person's sickness or if that person's weakness, you're helping that person. You know what I'm saying, to be weak. And
absolutely.
Yeah, it's kind of
setting up your friend to go over there and
and I'm not saying
some people and some women do that to their men.
I know
Go
I know we
to see if he give you his number.
try
No, it's true. And I know we in a perfect world we wouldn't, but we do. We watch everything. That's how the world has shaped us. And, you know what I'm saying? And we be like, well, and we'll justify ourselves and be like, well, if you was true, if you was pure, you would have never fell for it. No,
Right.
we had a part to play in it.
Yeah.
A big part.
That's crazy.
So everything, you know, it all boils down to like each individual.
It is. It
You
does.
know, and boundaries is something that we're gonna always place, no matter what it is, on everything that we do.
Yeah.
We got boundaries on our job. We got boundaries in our relationship. We got boundaries with our kids.
Yeah.
But you know, how are you gonna, you know, play it out? You know, how you gonna do it? So, hey, man, it's been awesome. It's been real, man. Minister Man, final thought.
When y'all said boundaries, I thought about Mount Sinai when Moses went up, and there was that fire, and then there was that smoke, and there was that fear, that reverence of who was up there and what Moses was doing up there. And they set boundaries around it, right? And they said if there was anything flying over it or anything was on it, kill it.
Down, yep.
Cut it down. And I believe on a good day, on a perfect day, we would all be perfect. But on our worst day, on our ugliest day, what will we be?
Filthy rags.
And that's what really kind of determines who we are.
Right.
If we was to say, boy, that smoke and all that fire, but I'm going to still go up there anyways, even though I might not live, and I'm going to just have faith, and whatever I go up there and see, God will deal with me on that accordingly. You see what I'm saying? Not to my heart, but accordingly to his heart. You see what I'm saying? And I think that's how we have to look at things. Even though someone hurts us and even someone burns us, we have to still leave a door open just in case they were gonna come back with some water or come back to try and put it back together again. We have to give them that chance because they would never be able to get forgiveness if they didn't. And if they don't, then just like you say, that's on them. Heaping coals on their head.
Right.
They'll have to deal with that one day. When they be like, boy, Minister Hayden, boy, he was all right at the end of the day. He never did anything to me. But why I do him like this? You see what I'm saying? So we have to be fair. Like I believe Abraham and Lot, they said, we bumping heads. We can't grow together. Lot, you go your way, I'm gonna go my way. But when Lot was in trouble, Abraham came running.
Through for him,
Yeah, so I believe that.
Brother Matthew.
I love that. I just remember this passage. It says, stubbornness is like the sin of witchcraft.
Yeah.
And it's like, boundaries, I feel like it's something that's mendable. It can, yes, it's times when it's firm, but it's other times when it's supple and it's flexible. Because I feel like once you introduce love into a picture, even the firmest thing should be able to bend. So especially when it comes to your boundaries, it's like, especially because that's something I'm starting to learn to. I'm trying to live by, because it's like, again, I have bricks, and it's like those bricks, I'm trying to make them as malleable as possible, so I can let people in. You know what I mean?
Bro, this podcast is working with this guy.
Hey,
wow.
Because like,
I like
at
that.
first I'm like, because at first it's like, being stiff-headed is not going to get you anywhere. Even because there are times in school is like, hey, everybody helping each other so they can pass this test. Okay. Nah, I'm not giving away my answers. End up you failing and everybody else passing. So it's like, I can't, being stiff-headed about certain things is like, it's not going to get you anywhere in life.
Nice.
Because it's like, you, after you're out of school, you realize that everything is flexible. And it's like, yes, there's times when you have to stand strong, but at the same time, there are other times where you have to know how to bend, especially if you want something to work. So that's how I feel about boundaries. Yes, there are times when you have to that you need to set some clear boundaries between your situation, whether it be at work or in your relationship, so they understand and respect who you are as a person. And then there are other times when it's like, you might not like that, but no, I might not like it, but you know what? I'll work with you.
Yeah, nice.
Just like in your relationship, I felt like you mentioned it multiple times. It's like, There are times when you think he's not listening, but he's catching everything. He's like, all right. And he has a notebook and he's like doing all that stuff. It's like, I'm listening. I'm not as stiff-headed as what you once thought. I'm actually working on myself. Yeah. And it's like, that's how I'm trying to live.
It doesn't happen overnight.
It doesn't happen overnight, but at the same time, it's like, I got to put in the effort.
Nice.
So that's my final thought.
Man.
Nice, Matt.
Hey, I'm putting in the effort. It's like, I ain't right down nothing.
You say the
but
show
I
is
gotta
working.
do it.
Bro, the show is working,
If not
bro.
for anybody, for that man right there.
Go back.
Yeah, that's what's up.
Matthew is bending.
Yeah.
Woo!
A little bit.
I still believe trust is number one.
Well, we still know that. We still know that. That's
Oh my God. Okay, so there are negotiable boundaries, and then there are non-negotiable boundaries. I don't need to explain that.
Any popcorn.
I don't need to explain that at all.
Type thing.
Okay, I don't need to explain that at all. Speaking personally, I am very fragile. I'm a fragile person. And so I don't trust people either, Matthew. Believe me. I don't trust people. I don't go around having multiple friends. And for one, I don't need... oh, God, let me not get too deep. I'm not going to go there. But like I said, I don't have friends, a bunch of friends. I don't let a bunch of people in. I'm just very fragile, and I fear for myself when it comes on to... Because I've been burned by friends before. Trying to give my best. I wasn't perfect. I'm never perfect, but I believe in friendship. I believe in being honest and true. I believe in being that person that you can depend on. I believe in being a confidant. Like, I'm not going to say nothing to people if you say something to me about, you know what I mean? You sometimes you would say, tell them I don't care, and I'm still not saying nothing, you know? Because you want to tell them, you tell them yourself.
Yeah, true.
And this is just more, even with more than a very close friend, this is just me with people, period.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You confide in me and tell me a certain thing, then there's nothing to say. Anyway, like I said, very fragile. And so I've been very guarded for years. Grew up with a bunch of friends, but along the way, them fall off. People call me, I'm just not answer my phone, and I just end up sort of like a hermit crab type of situation. And I was okay with that. And had my little one friend, or my little, you know, whatever. But even being so guarded, you still get burned.
Yeah, it's true.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
you still get burned with the person you really trust and you really put so much into, and you invest into your heart, your money, your time, your whatever it is that you invest, your energy. And so my thing is, what I have learned is that just do what makes you happy. You know, if being with the person or hanging with the person or being in that relationship or whatever it is, if it makes you happy, then be happy. You know what I mean? Yeah. But you just have to be careful with knowing that it is possible that you can get burned. If you're best friends with a murderer, honey, don't think one day they might not come for you.
Nah.
I'm serious. It's possible. They have that in them, right? Yeah. You understand what I'm saying? If you're friends with a liar,
this is possible.
They might not have lied to you a day, or you know, figure out so them lied to you, whichever way it is. But the person's a liar. You know they lied to him, she, that one over there. Everybody get lied to by this person except you. It's possible that one day they might lie to you. So just be prepared, just in case.
So you thank God for providing you a craftsman who's good with his hands.
Say again.
So you're thanking God that He provided you a craftsman who's good with his hands. In other words, you say that you're fragile. A pottery maker, he's good with his hands. A glass blower, he's good with his hands. And a few other things, but they're good. So it's like, I know that you're fragile, so God provided you with
the craftsman. All right. Amen. Praise God for that. Praise God for that.
You know, the thing about life, you know, that's always just amazing me. Is like when you speak, you know, you speak from your heart. You know, you'd be surprised how many people is probably facing the same thing or going through something. You know, and you know, just the fact that you're speaking about it, they're able to relate to you. and listening to evangelists talk, people are like, listen, I'm the same way, I'm in that circle, I'm da 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 da. So there's people out there that's really in the same thing.
Yeah,
like, listen,
definitely.
I'm only going to stick with one person, I'm going to stick with one friend.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
when we step out that boundary and have multiple friends, then now your heart is being pulled multiple different directions.
It depends, though. It depends.
If
It depends.
if you're sticking with that one person, guess what? Then it's just you and that one person. It's just that's your ride or die. You what you call it, Bonnie and Clyde.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, it's just like the song I was talking about earlier. It says when a heart breaks, it doesn't break even. How you might take it might not be how the other person take it, because the other person might not is loving as hard as you're loving. So it all depends, on the level of love. It all depends on the level of trust. It all depends on the boundaries that both y'all had, together. My boundaries could be like, listen, like, you got to climb Mount Everest. Or your boundaries could be like, listen, just hop over that hurdle.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So everybody has different boundaries. Everybody has different things that you have to face. And, I was just taken back to, in the Bible, here comes David, trying to bring the glory back, bring the glory back to Israel.
That's all he was trying to do.
He never knew how it was carried. He never knew how it came, how it came in the first place. So guess what? They put it on something and David like, well, that will work.
Yeah.
So we could go through stuff and it could be secular, it could be worldly, and guess what? We're like, listen, it's working, it's gonna work. And then guess what?
Oops.
The ox tripped.
Oops.
And when he tripped, what happened? Somebody went to touch that glory and tried to save it, and God is like, hold on, bruh. Who gave you that boundary or that right to go touch my, And God dropped him dead right then and there.
Yeah.
So, at the end of the day, somebody was trying to save the glory of God, and God is like, nah. So we have to understand that, eventually somebody gonna trip.
Yeah.
Eventually you might trip. And then guess what? The boundaries go out the window. Everything goes out the window.
Sometimes you just gotta fall.
Sometimes you just gotta fall. The glory never fell, but
somebody gotta fall. somebody
gotta fall.
Hey, so you on the other person don't die, you gotta fall.
Yeah.
So somebody has to take the highway. Somebody has to take the low road. Just like the songwriter said, Jesus, leads me beside the still waters, somewhere in the valleys below. But then he put me aside to be tested and tried, because in the valley he restored my soul.
That's it.
To me hurt when somebody hurts you or somebody puts you in that pressure. It just shows who you are. Are you going to be the bigger person? Are you going to be the stronger person?
Yeah.
The thing with a lot of us is that we just lost our will to fight. It's just easy to just say, you know what, this is it. I quit. I give up. I'm done.
Yeah.
David did the same thing when he saw when the Lord killed what was his name? And when it touched
Uzzah.
Yeah.
David is like, oh my God, this is too much for me.
Yeah.
David is like, man, this is too much. And so we get to that level.
That would mess anybody up.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter what it is. That was something big for David. Us going through a hurt or a relationship with somebody, it's the same hurt, different people hurt different.
Yeah.
And you're just gonna throw your hands like, this is it, I'm done.
Yeah.
And not understanding that you're still you're missing the mark of God no matter what it is.
Yeah.
Some people are struggling with some kind of issues. They're struggling with different things, and you might be that person could pull them or take them through it. We never knew after 2 years of doing the show, Matthew would be speaking the way he was speaking.
Woo!
Because when we first started the show, Matthew was like, man, listen, like, I don't like people. I don't do people. I'm good.
I don't talk.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I know we're on a talk show, but I don't talk.
To listen to Matthew tonight, I'm just like, wow, like, he's actually opening up, and people just like a lot of people. We don't know what folks are going through. We don't know nobody going through. Yeah, we do set boundaries, but your boundaries are going to be broken. So it's up to you.
From time to time.
It's up to you as an individual. To either say, listen, I'm going to move on. I'm going to step it up. I'm going to fight. We have to learn to fight as believers and fight for what we want and fight for what we love. Don't let the enemy just come in all the time and just want to say, you know what, I'm going to have fun with this one. And he's just laughing at you, and you're just sitting there like, oh my God, here we go again. And, you get into your, like you said, your pity and all this and da-da-da-da-da. But we have to understand that we have to start fighting back, for what we care about or what we love. So if you love something or love someone and you love the friendship or the relationship you and somebody have, we have to learn to fight for it. And I don't mean physically fight. It means taking yourself to a place, where you can find your prayer closet, and talk to the Lord. You know, because the first thing that goes when we get into our emotion state is our communication with God. You know, because we don't communicate with God no more, or we think we're communicating with God, but we're actually hurting. You know, God wants, when you spend time with God, you will know the difference. You will feel that difference. You'll feel. Let me tell you something. I spend time with God, and when I feel it, I get to a point sometimes where I just like get emotional. You know, I just want to cry. I just want to holler. You know what I mean? And I told everybody, you know, a couple weeks ago when I was going through I was wondering if God was still there. You know, and I read a lot of the scriptures, and I mean, and that's what brought me back to this scripture tonight. You know, when you know the glory of God left Israel for 20 years. Wow. You know, and here comes David who's trying to bring it back, and David went through so much. So, you know, 20 years and you haven't heard from God, bro. You know what I mean? I was going on months, and I'm like, what's going on? So God's still going to show up. He's still going to do what you have to do, but you have to get yourself back to that place. Don't let nothing or no one knock you off, you know, your place or your relationship with God because of what you see or what is going on. You know, get yourself back in line with God and get yourself back in communication with God, and you'll see the difference and you'll feel the difference. You know, I feel so much better. I feel awesome. You know, it wasn't good a couple months ago, but guess what? At this point, this point in this stage, I feel so good. You know, so you could do the same thing. You could feel the same way. You know, so just understand that boundaries will be broken, but it's up to you to be the bigger person and move on and move forward. And if that's something serious to you that you care about, fight for it. You know, don't let the enemy just come through and just take the best thing you ever had, or take something that you had that, you know, you love, that you cherish. You know, so, man, it's been awesome. It's been real. You know, don't forget to hop over to our YouTube page. It's Just a Conversation. Don't forget to subscribe, and don't forget to like. And don't forget you can check us out on all podcast categories. You know, whether it be Spotify, Stitcher, Breaker, Google Podcasts. You know, at Just a Conversation, you can find us. And for business needs, or if you have any topics you want us to talk about, you can hit us up at justaconversation1@gmail.com. So until next week, it's been real. Matthew.
Hey, hashtag.
Talk about it.